The government has directed the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to increase oil production beyond current levels by the end of the year. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Heineken Lokpobiri, gave the directive at the Africa Energy Forum in Houston, Texas. Mr. Lokpobiri emphasized the need for accelerated growth in the nation's oil and gas industry. The forum has the theme Africa Energy Investment Drive amidst global transition to green minerals and clean energy. The minister revealed that the NNPCL has been directed to ramp up production to target of 2.5 million barrels per day. The forum is being attended by delegations from petroleum ministries, Nigeria, Togo, Senegal, Algeria, Ghana, Liberia, and the Gambia. President of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi, has described the tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly as a transformative opportunity that's for the Nigerian economy. Now, he urged states and local governments to demonstrate the political will necessary for its implementation once it becomes law. Speaking ahead of the 27th Annual Tax Conference scheduled for 12th to 16th May 2025 at the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Agbeluyi emphasized the bill's potential to drive national development. The conference themed Taxation for Development, Policies, Law and Implementation will focus on fostering a tax-paying culture and addressing the challenges of implementation. Mr. Agbeluyi highlighted the need for sufficient government revenue to fund public expenditure, which he said would accelerate Nigeria's transition from a developing to a developed nation. Let's talk to President of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi. He's not the only one with me today. He's joining via Zoom, but I have live in the studio the chairman of the planning committee of the ATC Conference 2025, Dr. Adeyemi Sonny. Thank you so much, Mr. President and Dr. Sonny. It's good to have you in the studio.
Right, my pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Mr. President, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Good afternoon, Tolu.
Thank you so much.
Good to be with you.
I think I'm going to start with you. Let's start the conversation around reactions around this tax reform bill before the National Assembly, which many see, and you've said, the transformative opportunity for Nigeria's economy. Tell us more about what you think. We heard yesterday that a clause of it, or a part of it, has been passed into law.
Okay, thank you. Thank you once again. Like we have said over several times, that what the current government is doing at the federal level by introducing these bills, the 4 bills under the tax reform bill, is a major one because even by West African standard and African standard, our tax to GDP ratio is very low. And in order to galvanize the needed resources in terms of sufficient fund to handle public expenditure, the best and the most sustainable manner is to do that through tax revenue. And like the closest to that is debt, and we all know the consequence of taking debt. A slave to your creditor, you pay the principal, you pay the interest, and any attempt to default can make we laughing stock in the Committee of Nations. So it is our best bet to make sure that we tidy up our tax administration, tax process in the country. And we're happy that despite the setback and the challenges, the country is moving forward in one accord to ensure that we have a good tax system in the country. We are grateful and happy that the lawmakers are doing a great job to this bill. Hopefully by today, end of today, next week, the bill, all the 4 bills will have been passed by the National Assembly and to be sent to the federal government. We await and we are prepared for the implementation after they are sent by the president.
I'm going to ask you why the ATC this year is focusing on tax for development, policy, law, and implementation. Why this thing?
I can tell you that that theme is coming at the right time and is highly strategic. And strategic in the sense that we look at the Nigerian current economic realities and the ongoing tax reform efforts of the government. So, and we believe that the theme aligns with Nigeria's critical reform agenda. So, and with this, you know that the current administration's effort at moving from oil revenue growth to from non-oil, from revenue generation from oil revenue to non-oil, you know. So if that is the agenda, I agree with me that taxation right now is central to fiscal sustainability in Nigeria. And also, the theme is meant to address weak tax compliance, you understand, and revenue leakages. And that is one of the reasons why, you know, we have looked at this theme, and we believe that, you know, the conference will provide a platform for debate, you know, on key provisions of the reform bill, so that it can ensure that they align with different developmental goals of the current government.
President, Mr. Agbelui, I would ask you, Mr. President, that following up with what Dr. Sonny has said, are we worried about implementation of these laws? Because many would argue that Nigeria doesn't lack laws. Implementation has been the challenge in some quarters. Is that why CITN is looking at this surrounding that theme?
Okay, I will say that to an extent we may say Nigeria does not lack law, but I can say with certainty that Nigeria lacks the necessary laws for for efficient tax administration in the country. So this will bring about that, and it's good to have a very efficient legal framework before you can talk of a good tax administration. And that is why we look at it from policy, law, and implementation. Implementation is standing for administration. Now, if that is taken, looking at the implementation, looking into the future could be as close as next week. Are we having issues? Are we having some concern about implementation? Yes, we are having concern because we have often we concentrate on what the federal government is doing. And Nigeria is a federation with federal government, state, and local government. And so, from what I know as a tax practitioner and the president of CITN, you have minimal headache with FRS. FRS that I know will never collect what is not in the status book. So the multiplicity of taxes that you have happens at the state and the local government level. And to that extent, are we sure that our governors will demonstrate sufficient political will to take care of the non-state actors? Because the law itself will not implement itself. It must be implemented by various organs of government. So at the local government, at the state government, are we certain, are we sure that the necessary political will to back the implementation, whereby you don't have non-state actors, those who will go to government house, possibly because they have sponsored a governor during electoral campaign, the life will not be given the access to go and terrorize and collect money from people. Once we are able to take away this, then of course, the ordinary Nigerians are good and law-abiding people. So we have no reservation that Nigerians will comply. They will do the needful, as the case may be, once they can see that the government is also doing its own part of the bargain, and that speaks to the social contract. Once the social contract is going on well with the federal government, the state government, and the local government, of course, the trust deficit will be, that gap will close, and Nigeria will be better for it. But to say that we have 100% benefit of these bills soon to become act, we need a lot of talk with our state government in terms of their political will to do the right thing.
Dr. Sonny, let me come back to the studio now and ask you, what lineup do you have? I know the likes of Mr. Taiwo Oyedele should, you know, when you look at the fiscal policy and all of that, I've seen him at a series of your conferences. But tell us more about what we should be expecting.
For the conference, what we have done, we have lined up stakeholders as regards this reform bill. So here you'll be seeing experts, part of those who were part of those that put together
the committee.
Yeah, exactly. That's number one. Great. Number two, those that are affected by this bill that are interested parties. So you'll be talking about taxation as it affects subnational. So you will see that this will be area of interest for the state governors. And of course, the state governors are interested parties there. Also, are the chairman of the relevant internal revenue services. So you are going to be seeing such people there. So again, whatever is on ground, we believe that we want to bring some another dimension to it. So we're bringing in people like Mr. Femi Falana, who will be looking at things, you know, from another perspective. Let us see. People might think, oh, they're going in this direction. That direction is okay. But we have some people who have microscopic eyes who can, you know, go, into things and be able to bring other perspective into things. Also, we're going to be having the former Statistician General of the Federation, who will be, Dr. Yemi Kale, who will be attending also to come and shed some perspective to this. Also, we have invited Mr. President to be there because, you know, this tax reform bill, like you rightly said at the beginning of this program, is one that should transform the economy if rightly done. Because, of course, you know, the success to the reform bill is hinged on like a tripod. You understand? There's a need to balance the revenue generation drive with economic growth incentives, plus the simplifying compliance, as well as being mindful of fairness in taxation. So once you have this, of course, you are sure that, of course, the bill, you know, will give you the transformation in the economy that we are looking at. So all these people are coming. The Minister of Finance will be coming. Like I told you, Mr. President has acknowledged our letter for him to be in attendance, except there are other pressing assignments. Probably, you know, he might just delegate some top government official to come to the conference. So we have a number of people to come and give perspective into the reform bills.
Mr. President, I would ask you that how do we address inconsistencies in subnational tax regimes, which continues to threaten reform efforts in its entirety? Dr. Sonny just talked about bringing them together also at this gathering to, you know, make their points and let them know they have a role to play in this. But what do you make of that, and how can we deal with it?
Through the bill, you realize the Joint Tax Board is being reformed and is going to take a new look under the tax reform bills. So that is one, because you can't talk about Nigeria and you ignore the subnationals. So the head of the various state internal revenue services, the few of them will be speaking to us. There are challenges, the opportunities within the system, and now they intend to move forward in making sure that we get the benefit of this. We didn't just select them, we look at them across the country. And of course, an opportunity to hear from this set of people who are collecting this revenue for the various state government, and what are their expectations. They are major stakeholders. And so we are not going to do a conference where we leave out those who are the real people who we implement. We are not going to leave them out. So some of them will be coming to talk to us, and so that we get the benefit. But we have actually looked at this conference from a very holistic angle, whereby we look at business, because there is no taxation without business or economy. And so we are bringing a man who is in charge of back of industry. He has a lot of feedback from those people he has given loan to. And so he's going to look at taxation, what are the ethics, and what are how taxation can be used to also make sure that we have a very good conducive environment to do business. He'll be coming to speak to us. The Director General of Manufacturers Association will be coming. So this is to balance. We are not just going to have a kind of conference whereby we listen to government side alone. No, we are bringing other people. And my colleague over there mentioned Mr. Falana, SAN. We have Mr. Wale Olanipekun to SAN, who will be talking to us. And so we want to have a balanced view. We want Nigeria to start on a clean slate. Let's put everything forward so that we know where to pay attention to. With this in place, we are so confident that after the conference, our communique will be so rich that it will add value to the soon to become law, the tax reform bills soon to become law. And because our focus is Nigeria, how to add value to Nigeria. CITN is always talking about adding value to Nigeria, and we are not going to stop at anything to make sure that this is done. So we'll be addressing the challenges at the federal, we'll be addressing the challenges at the state and even at the local government, bringing in a lot of stakeholders to share their experience and what. If you look at the debate around the tax reform bill in the past 1 year, you know, beyond politics, this has been the main discussion that nobody can put aside. So we have had discussion, we have had forward and backward. It is time to get the benefit, and this conference stands to give that benefit to the country.
You want to say something more around expectations for the conference?
The conference, aside delving into the reform bill, actually promises some other things as well. We are going to be, having sports carnival as well, and we're going to be having a gala night just to diffuse all the, So it's something that people do not want to miss. And as I speak with you right now, we have people that have shown interest in coming for the conference from outside Nigeria. Wow. We have delegates from Senegal, from the Gambia Revenue Authority. We have delegates from Ghana and some other countries that are going to be, coming for the conference. So, and it promises to be a delight to people and, very
Mr. Belui, you have been quoted in one of my research. I saw that you emphasized on the urgency of shifting Nigeria's fiscal strategy towards sustainable and equitable tax practices. All of these terms when they come to fore. Can you tell us more about this submission and what you really intend, what message you intend to pass to us?
Okay, let's not just, taxation is an economic tool. So let's first of all look at the economy. You see, if you live in Norway and you collect 100 naira, for example, you will pay about 49 or 50 naira back to government in terms of taxation. That means you are paying 50% of what you collect. But the benefit of that is that money is being used to make sure that you have the necessary infrastructure within that country. Once you have the infrastructure, you are not going to be a local government to yourself. And when everybody, for example, the experience of Nigeria, everybody is drilling borehole, everybody is creating security gate, that is suboptimal utilization of resources. And so Nigeria cannot afford to go forward with that. If everybody is generating electricity, power, and so if you aggregate how much an estate, be it housing estate or industrial estate, is spending on power generation, it far outweighs what ordinarily they will be spending if the government is doing that on behalf of the people. Now, how do you do it? Who blinks first? Do you sit down and say, okay, let's go and collect loan, which is attendant consequence of cost of loan collection and repayment? Or we sit down and say, okay, let us finance our public expenditure, infrastructure, and the likes with taxation. Once you do it with taxation, it's cheaper and better. And so we must look at the economy holistically and make sure that we do this while we are talking as an institute, that people must pay their taxes, administrator must do the right thing, efficient way of collecting, economy of collection, tax collection, and the like. We are also mindful of the other side of the bargain, and that is the utilization of what is collected from the taxpayers. And so once there is value for money, the necessary things are done, the roads are built, and the likes, then it is easier to do business. And once you are able to do business and it is profitable, not the people will benefit, and not just the owner of the business, even the government will benefit by way of tax collection. So it's a system that once you get it right, then everybody benefits, win-win situation for the country. And that's why we are doing what we are doing in the institute. We have seen the benefit, and we give example. Look at the best 10 prosperous country in the world. Look at those countries that everybody wants to go and live there. Their strength does not lie in natural resource or resources. So we want to do that in Nigeria. And so we align with the definition that tax is what to pay to live in a civilized environment. We want to live in a civilized environment, but we are not going to stop, because we know Nigeria, I say it again, Nigeria are good and law-abiding set of people. So our leader must make this easy for us, whereby when taxes are paid, you utilize, once they do the bargain side of the bargain, Nigeria will be great and the economy will flourish. Once it flourishes, the living standard will be high and will be good as a country.
Indeed. Dr. Sonny, what will be the message to Nigerians, tax professionals, taxpayers, who expect government to use resources generated from taxation for the benefit for all and sundry? I use Lagos as an example most times. Okay. We see some of what our monies are being used for. So, but we want more. What do you think? What will be your message to them?
Okay. Your question now is addressing message to, 1, the Nigerian people. Yeah. 2, the tax professionals. Yeah. 3, maybe the businesses and others. To Nigerian people, we see tax as a civic duty, right? And for now, I will say, why do we have debates on whether our economics is okay, whether this policy is right or not? Because we have interest in our nation called Nigeria. And there is a Nigeria that we have in our head that we believe that we deserve. So rather than saying tax as a duty, let us see it as an investment in the Nigeria that we deserve. And of course, government hears frustrations of roads remains unfinished, school lack resources, healthcare is inadequate. But the point is that change begins by holding our leaders accountable. And we need to demand transparency. Ask how our taxes are spent. And we should not see it as a one-way thing. We should see it as a collaborative effort, because we see taxation as government's responsibility. You understand? We should see it as a collaborative effort, so that the Nigerian people should see it as a partnership for progress. Then for the professionals are those that are the bridge between policy and execution. What do we need from them? We need their expertise to simplify compliance, to eliminate the leakages that we have in revenue generation, and also to ensure fairness. And how will this be done? They need to advocate for laws that will prioritize equitable taxation, right? How? By ensuring that the wealthy pay taxes that is commensurate to what they are making, and ensure that the SMEs thrive without harassment, right? Because the SME is the bone of the economy. Yeah. So we need to push for technology-driven reforms that will reduce human interference and corruption. So the role should not just be about collecting revenue. It's about building trust in the system. So that takes me to the message to the government. Now, Nigerians are watching. Then, you know, the tax revenue, they do not want it to disappear into opaque projects. right, or private pockets. And, you know, with this, government should try to implement open book governance where they are able to see things, you know, government showing citizens the direct link between taxes and services. They should prioritize projects which have high public interest. You know, with this, you know, government should also try to cut wasteful spending. Yeah. Because when you cause wasteful spending and you punish where they punish diversion of funds, because we hear people diverting funds to do different things and all that. So we will see that the era of taxation without representation is over, and Nigerians demand value for their money. And to the businesses, you know, the privilege that businesses have, you know, is also comes with responsibilities. For your business to thrive, of course, you need to have good infrastructures and all that. But we know that a number of businesses too, they avoid tax payment through some unholy practices. So we all have to try to, you know, avoid artificial schemes like an effort of evading taxes. So compliance fuels economy that, you know, sustains the growth, because you see a lot of policies, implementation and all that government does is to ensure that businesses, taxpayers, they comply, because when they comply, of course, there will be revenue growth. But at that time, when there's compliance, what is government doing with that revenue? So, and for people to pay, people need to trust the government, right? Taxation works when citizens that are paying this money, they trust the system. So Nigerian government must earn that trust. You can't impose or demand it. They need to earn that trust. How will they earn the trust? They need to deliver results, while taxpayers must also fulfill their obligations. So we need to tell citizens they need to move away from resentment into collaboration. And when that happens, every naira paid is a seed that is planted.
Impactful, even for the media. I can attest to that. Your contribution to our programs and all of that is something I must commend. How does that feel, and what do you want to say as a parting shot?
Well, thank you for that commendation. It's good to serve Nigeria. Nigeria is a beautiful country. If you know Nigeria as much as I know it, then you will be ready to serve. So good people, great country, great resources everywhere, from Sokoto to Port Harcourt, from Lagos to Maiduguri. Great people, and we have great members of the Institute, almost 32,000 now. So serving them is a great opportunity, and I'm so grateful that God has made that happen. I am so grateful to members of the Institute, all the stakeholders, our founding fathers. May God bless them all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi, President, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Thanks for joining us virtually. We know you'd have been here, but we thank you so much, and we got a good visuals and, of course, audio from your end. That's really appreciable. Dr. Adeyemi Sonny is the chairman, planning committee. Well done. A lot of work, I know, but all the best in Abuja.
Thank you for having us.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very
so
much, and hope to see you in Abuja.
Yeah, I should be in Abuja. Yeah. Thank you so much. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll shift our conversation to looking at the Made in Nigeria move by the president. What does it mean for some segments of the economy? We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country.